Today we're talking about the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 OS Art and yeah, something along those lines. First, let's just fuck with the price. It sells for around 11 or 1200 bucks. That's pretty expensive for most people, but if you take into account that the original Canon 24-70 cost like 17 or 1800 dollars, that's like fucking crazy. So 1200 actually doesn't even sound that bad. Okay, so let's see what you get in the box. First off, it's a lens hood. Normal accessory, comes with almost every lens except Canon's because they are fucking legit, right? The lens pouch comes in handy if you travel anywhere. I'm a little bit mad because there's no Sigma logo like on the 18-35. I think on that pouch there's a logo that looks way better than this. This just looks unbranded, like it's from China or whatever. And then there's the beast itself, the fucking 24-70 from Sigma. First off, it's heavy. That's one of the downsides, but we'll get to those a little bit later. First, if you look at it, it looks, I don't know, it looks chubby. It looks like the RF70-200 or something like one of those chubby old guys. Take a minute, please, and look at this element, okay? Look at this. Now we're talking, okay? Now we're talking money. This is a real piece of glass. Then here on the back, it's weather seal, looks fine for 1200 bucks. Like, what do you expect? Please focus on me, thanks. So yeah, weather sealing, I'm gonna take that, thank you. In hand it probably doesn't look that big, but compared to a kit lens or a 50mm f1.8 that's like this big from Canon, that thing is tiny. This is, and if you zoom into 70mm, it has an external zoom, so the lens is even bigger. And if you compare that to a kit lens or 50mm, then it destroys it. Probably in quality too. And guess what? It costs over 1000 bucks and also weighs over 1000 grams. This is a heavy bit. And guess what? Unlike the Canon 24-70 f2.8, this has image stabilization, which works surprisingly good. I shot some photos at 70mm and I turned off the stabilization just for fun because I was like, there can't be that much difference. I was surprised there actually was. So yeah, the stabilization, it works, it's good. There's an autofocus mode, manual focus mode, and MO, which I don't know what stands for and what it is for, so I don't use it, but yeah. And this is actually the first full frame lens I bought. The other lens I have and all the lenses I had before were only for cropped sensors, so yeah. This hefty lens is also for beasts like, I don't know, 6D Mark II, 5D Mark IV, sorry. Or you can adapt it to like an EOS R or R5 or, no, that's crap, it overheats. Go for Sony a7 III. And let's talk about the fact that this opens all the way up to 2.8 throughout its entire focal range, and it's stabilized. Like, that combination is freaking deadly. I shot some photos at night. I'm gonna roll those first. I was supposed to go like, I don't know, landscape portrait and then go low light, but fuck it, I'm just gonna go low light straight away. So yeah, I shot some photos of fire with the 24-70, and yeah, I had the stabilization on and I shot at 70mm, some close-up shots of ambers or like, yeah, something like that, and then the campfire, and it looked freaking awesome. When I had the aperture and this big ass element which sucks in light, the images didn't look too noisy because of the aperture, and the shots also weren't blurry because it was stabilized, so I could use lower shutter speeds. Next up is a landscape shot, and guess what? If you guessed that we're gonna take a closer look at the photos, you were fucking right, let's do it. Okay, so the first photo I got here is a landscape shot. I cropped it 9:16, and you can see that on the first glance it looks freaking sharp. If we take a look onto the center of the photo, it looks pretty freaking sharp. I shot it at f2.8, which I think is a bit stupid. I could use like f8, but yeah, whatever. And then if we zoom into the corners, they still look pretty freaking sharp. I don't think there's much to it, it just looks great. There's a link in the description that will take you to a site where you can download any of the photos I'll show you here. So yeah, if you're interested and want to inspect it further, you definitely can. Here I got a second photo. Again, it's a landscape shot at 70mm. If we zoom in and compare it to the previous version, you can see that there's a touch of chromatic aberration here on the moon. But other than that, it still looks pretty damn sharp. Alright, and very last is a portrait shot, which is sharp throughout the whole image. There's really nothing to complain about. The image is tech sharp, the background is blurry as foo. I don't know what else you want. it just looks good. 24 to 70 is a great mid-range lens because it's pretty wide on the 24 end and pretty narrow in telephoto at the 70mm end. And if it's in just one lens, it's very versatile. You can use it in many occasions that way and get great results because the image looks awesome. Even if your aperture is open all the way to 2.8, it looks great. I mean, what would you want for 1200 bucks? What the f— But to my surprise, if you're a filmmaker and you want some smooth zooming, I mean, it's still smooth, but not as smooth as the Sigma 20 18 to 35, which I had before. I guess I understand because the Sigma 18 to 35 has internal zooming, so it doesn't move like this. It all happens inside the lens, and this is external because the range is just too wide. So yeah, I understand why it's not as good as the Sigma 18 to 35, but if you're like close to 70, then it like gets harder. It gets a bit stuck, or I don't know. That's a bit of an issue. Now that we're talking about issues, let's talk about things I don't like, which are definitely— this focus ring drives me freaking crazy. I thought it wouldn't be a problem for me because how could you possibly mistake a zoom ring for a focus ring? But to my surprise, a couple times it happened to me that I was like zooming in or out or whatever when I already had my focus ready and I moved it, so I just completely, yeah, I fucked it up. I had to refocus and then it just takes longer for you to get the shot. My other little bit of complaint would be that it's heavy, and I already said a couple times that it's heavy, but it gets really heavy. When you carry around that lens like all day, it gets really heavy after a while. And also carrying it isn't the most convenient because when I have my camera, I usually grab it by the area where the flash is because there's room for my fingers. But with this chubby lens, I can't do it because it's just too chubby. I'm gonna roll some B-roll over this so you can, yeah. Also, the focus noise isn't the worst at all. This lens is a fucking loud piece of glass. And I'm recording with an external microphone. Let's try this with an external microphone. And now try it with an internal microphone. And it's still not that bad. It actually works pretty good. I don't know how quick it is. I didn't try, and I also had to focus manually many times because, I don't know, it's probably because this old ass 80D just doesn't have the best autofocus. It's a bit of a dated camera at this point, so yeah, I should probably get something new. If you just wanted to focus, it focuses pretty quietly and pretty quickly actually. If it catches the correct focus, it focuses quickly. And if you want to shoot macro-like shots, this is not really macro lens, but it can focus really closely all the way down to 37 centimeters, which is really good when you zoom in all the way to 70mm. That is freaking great. I could really get close to the ambers, for example. Those were shot at 70mm and I think they turned out looking pretty sharp. So yeah, if you still have any questions after this video, don't worry to ask in the comments below. Leave a like if you liked the video, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!